Welcome to The Explainer. If you've glanced at the headlines today, July 8th, 2026, you might honestly feel like you're staring at a tornado of totally unrelated chaotic events. I mean, we've got missiles flying, trade wars erupting, severe natural disasters, and massive corporate power grabs. It is a lot to process. But underneath all that daily noise, there's actually a very clear structure. Today, we're going to distill 15 distinct global headlines into one cohesive narrative, and we'll do it by looking at the data right in front of us to uncover the underlying forces driving our world today. Let's get into it.
All right, here is our roadmap. We're tracking 4 distinct invisible threads today. First, global conflict and escalation. Second, tech, trade, and warfare. Third, climate extremes and disasters. And finally, corporate ambition meets politics.
So let's jump right into thread number 1, global conflict and escalation, focusing on the kinetic front.
Starting off with a massive development, the diplomatic framework in the Middle East has completely fractured. Speaking directly from the NATO summit over in Ankara, Turkey, President Trump officially announced that the pretty brittle interim ceasefire agreement with Iran has totally collapsed. And the rhetoric here is uncompromising. He stated the U.S. is prepared to, quote, hit Iran hard again, following a really relentless multi-day flare-up of hostilities in the Persian Gulf. This is a profound shift in the regional security posture, and it really sets the stage for everything else we're seeing on the ground.
To give you a sense of the scale here, following those initial flare-ups, Iran's military launched a coordinated, massive assault aimed right at Gulf states hosting U.S. forces. Regional defense systems were instantly put to the test. The Bahraini military reported intercepting projectiles over their territory, while Kuwaiti forces actually managed to shoot down 2 ballistic missiles right alongside an incoming swarm of 13 one-way attack drones.
And this uncompromising stance is exactly what's driving the conflict. Iranian officials, specifically National Security Commission member Aladdin Boroujerdi, have publicly confirmed that Tehran is completely willing to engage in large-scale conflict. Their explicit goal, they want to enforce their own traffic separation scheme in the region. The regime is maintaining that all commercial vessel traffic going through the highly strategic Strait of Hormuz has to remain under the exclusive oversight of the IRGC Navy.
Now, you might be wondering, what's the immediate macro impact of all this aggressive rhetoric? Well, acute panic over imminent energy supply disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz, which is still the world's most critical maritime choke point, caused global crude markets to surge. Both West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude futures spiked 6% today, hitting a 2-week high. It just goes to show how physical conflict instantly translates into global economic shockwaves.
But amidst all this kinetic chaos, there is actually one small lifeline for diplomacy. The Lebanese government just announced it will participate in high-level tripartite security talks with the U.S. and Israel. Those are scheduled for July 15th and 16th in Rome. What's really vital to note here is that Lebanon is moving forward with these negotiations despite some severe friction over an Israeli military presence in designated southern pilot zones. So it's a rare diplomatic opening in an otherwise rapidly escalating region.
All right, shifting gears to Section 2, Tech, Trade, and Warfare. These are the invisible battles happening globally.
Going back to the NATO summit in Ankara, President Trump issued a shock trade ultimatum that is totally shaking up European relations. He ordered a comprehensive cutoff of U.S. trade with Spain. Why? Because Madrid is refusing to roll back its digital services taxes on American tech firms. Think about that for a second. We are literally seeing physical trade held hostage over digital taxation. It perfectly proves just how hopelessly intertwined the physical and virtual economies have become.
And this weaponization of technology is accelerating everywhere you look. In Ukraine, President Zelensky is trying to buffer his domestic defense by signing landmark bilateral drone production and tech-sharing deals with 3 separate allies. Over in Asia, citing national security, Chinese regulators are reviewing policies to heavily restrict or even entirely block foreign entities from accessing their top-tier AI models. Meanwhile, back on the actual battlefield, Russia has deployed a massive surge of advanced electronic warfare specifically aimed at jamming Elon Musk's Starlink satellite terminals to blind Ukrainian drone synchronization. It is a relentless, invisible battle.
Taking a quick step back from the nation-state level to the actual structural level of the internet itself, major global crypto networks are right now rushing to implement emergency defenses. They're called post-quantum encryption standards. They have to do this because the incredibly rapid advancement of quantum computing is posing a looming existential threat to current blockchain security protocols. This intense race to secure the future of digital finance is happening right now, quietly, entirely in the background.
Let's move to Section 3, Climate Extremes and Disasters, and take a look at the physical realities of our environment.
The recent data paints a really sobering picture of extreme weather events across Asia. In northwestern China's Gansu province, state media confirmed that emergency rescue operations have unfortunately concluded after a catastrophic rain-induced landslide buried a rural settlement, leaving 21 people dead. Concurrently, down in Pune, India, specifically Pimpri Chinchwad, emergency crews and rescue dogs are right now frantically digging through rubble. A 3-story residential building collapsed there, trapping 8 people, and this all followed days of relentless and totally unseasonable monsoon rains.
What's wild is that this localized weather is actually driven by massive global shifts. A groundbreaking climate study just published in Nature Communications breaks down exactly why places like California, for example, are experiencing much worse storms. Think of it like a giant domino effect in 3 steps. First, there's an ongoing weakening of the AMOC, that's the Atlantic Conveyor Belt. Second, this weakening dramatically shifts global rainfall patterns. And third, this shift uniquely alters high-altitude winds, which then act as a conveyor belt to drive incredibly strong atmospheric rivers directly into California. It's all entirely connected.
Finally, we reach Section 4, Corporate Ambition Meets Politics, focusing on those societal intersections.
It is absolutely fascinating how high-tech ambition intersects with traditional industries. Right now, big tech conglomerates from Silicon Valley are making a massive corporate showing at Canada's annual Calgary Stampede Energy Bash. And they definitely aren't there to ride bulls. They are aggressively networking with provincial leaders, desperately looking to secure massive plots of land and robust utility grids to build their next-generation data centers. The digital cloud, it turns out, requires a staggering amount of physical land and raw energy.
Meanwhile, over in the world of global sports, corporate analysts are eyeing a highly unusual event. FIFA suddenly decided to overturn the red card suspension of Team USA soccer star Folarin Balogun. Now, this isn't just about a referee's call. Analysts are pointing out that this reversal triggers some intense political debate, highlighting soccer leadership's increasingly close and political relationship with the White House. It's a perfect example of how the deepening intersection of politics and sports plays out on the world stage.
So, we've just unpacked the invisible threads driving today's chaotic news cycle. From the physical borders being violently contested in the Gulf, to the digital walls being built by China and Spain, to the atmospheric rivers actively shaped by shifting ocean currents, and the political maneuvering inside global sports. Every single headline we looked at is a symptom of these much larger colliding forces. As these massive systems, geopolitics, technology, and our very climate, continue to crash into one another, the question we really have to ask ourselves isn't just what happened today, it's this. When these tectonic plates shift again tonight, what entirely new reality will we wake up to tomorrow? Thank you for joining me to explore the structure behind the noise. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time on The Explainer.